Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering suppliers and purchase orders in WEX FSM. This webinar will cover how to set up your suppliers, purchase order settings, setting up your catalogs, creating job purchase orders versus warehouse purchase orders, and then how to order from the mobile app out in the field. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you will be able to get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. Also, welcome, Daniel. I see you have just joined. You haven't missed a thing. We are just getting started here, but we are recording today's session, so you'll be able to watch a replay of this just in case you wanted to see that intro. All right, let's get into it. When you first log in to your system, it is going to bring you to the schedule page. And if you would like to use suppliers, create purchase orders, order parts directly from your system, you need to set up your suppliers in your account first and then set up catalogs for each account for each supplier. So the first step, and what we're going over today is how to do all of this manually from scratch. So we're starting from the very beginning and building our foundation. And the first thing that you will want to do is go to settings, purchase orders, manage suppliers. That will bring you to your supplier list. You know, when we say it's suppliers, that is who you're actually purchasing from. So everyone will have different suppliers that they're purchasing parts, equipment from, but you'll want to set those up in your system and add their supplier name, their address, the main contact that you'll actually be sending these purchase orders to when you're ready to make a purchase. You need to set those up first in your system. As you can see, I do have a lot of different suppliers in my system here, but let's build one together. To add a supplier, you will click New Supplier in the top right, and we will start filling out this information. So let's say that the entity I'm purchasing my supplies from is called Anderson Supply. And with Anderson Supply, I have an account number with them. That's 1022. And the payment terms that I have with them is a net 60. And then when you send the purchase order, if there's any type of terms or conditions that you have that you want to add here, you can do that. I just have an example that I'm going to copy and paste here. And it's just no purchases are valid without a purchase order number. Once you have this information here, we will click Next to add our accounts. Now, each account is going to be a way for us to have a catalog for either a job account or a warehouse account. And let's say that with Anderson Supply, I have two separate accounts. One of my accounts is a job account that I purchase items for jobs when I need them. And then another is a warehouse account that's really just a catalog of items that maybe I purchase to keep on hand in the truck or in our warehouse, at our location. So let's add both of those accounts. We will click New. And the first account we will name Job Account. The account number is 1004. And then region, you can put that. Maybe you want to add that for yourself. That's up to you, but I'm going to skip that one and just click the check. So now I have a job account. Let's add a warehouse account. So we'll click new. We'll name this warehouse account. For this one, it's 1006. And there we go. And you'll see this in context a little later, but essentially for each account that you add, you can create a separate catalog for those accounts. So if it's like a one-to-one, I'm just going to order from one account from one supplier. That's great. You would just add one account. But if you know that with that supplier, you have different divisions that you order from, you can create different accounts for that. So I'm using job and warehouse here, but maybe you'll have one for the HVAC side of your business and one for the plumbing side of your business. And you can create those separate accounts from here. These are just examples, but customize this as you need. We have our accounts. We're ready to move on. We'll click next. And then locations. This is going to be the location that you are purchasing from. Where is the supplier? So let's say that for Anderson Supply, this is the Eastway store. And we'll just add in the address. And we are here in Charlotte. Oh, North Carolina. I think this is 28202. So there we go. I've got the address. This is where you would either go pick up if you ordered for pickup, or where they would be delivering from if you select delivery. All right, we have our location. Now let's click next. And then contact. This one's important. This is who is this purchase order that you will create in the future? Where is that purchase order going to go to? And this may be a primary contact that you know, or maybe it's just the parts counter. So we're going to click new to add a contact. Again, we're thinking, who do I want my purchase order to be sent to for them to fulfill my purchase order? In this scenario, we're actually, they have a different person at the counter each time. If you have a specific contact that guy named Doug who works there and he does all the ordering or all the fulfilling of orders, that's great. Put Doug. But for this, we're going to put just the parts counter. You can add a phone number, email address. For this, let's just add, generic for our example. And then let's say that this is just the counter staff. Whoever's working that day, they will receive this. Cool. And then associated existing supplier location. Um, we're just going to apply that to the location we have. So there we go. When we submit this, let's say we want to send this via email, we'll create the purchase order and submit. It will go to this email. Whoever's working the parts counter will fulfill that order for us. When you're done, click done. And that will then save your supplier in the supplier list here. And that is step one. If you want to edit the supplier, you can just click on the supplier name, make your edits as needed, and click save. All right, so now we have our supplier set up. We want to add our supplier catalogs. So we have our supplier, but we need to create catalogs that will actually have the items that we're going to add to our purchase order. And you do need to have at least one item in a account for it to show up as a catalog when you're doing your purchase orders. To do this, we're going to go to settings, purchase orders. Oh, purchase order settings. Actually, my apologies. There's one more step we're going to do before we add our catalogs. So yes, we need to add our catalogs. But we want to make sure we have our purchase order settings set up as well. So we're going to do that first before we actually add our first catalog item. And that's what we're going to now. So we're going to settings, purchase orders, purchase order settings. And really, this is just the preferences that you will have for certain actions and pieces of information when creating purchase orders. So, delivery locations, this is going to be if I choose delivery when I'm creating the purchase order, then these are the addresses that I will want my items delivered to. So, this will let you know or this will let the supplier know where to send items to. And you'll select these any addresses that you put here, you will be able to see in a drop down when creating the purchase order. For your company, maybe you just have one location and that's fine. You add your location here and that will be on all your purchase orders for delivery and they'll deliver to that location only. Maybe you have multiple locations and for certain items, I want it sent to one location and then sent to another in another instance. Just add the delivery locations here. Delivery contact, that's going to be the contact who will receive the delivery. So maybe you have someone at your company who works in the office and is taking in any deliveries and then dishing those out as needed. Put that as your delivery contact for your company. Delivery methods. You get to determine what type of delivery methods you want to use. I've just got some examples I've added here, 2-day shipping, ground shipping, next day air. To add or adjust any of these, you will click the red plus button here. For delivery method, you enter the method. You can even make this a default for warehouse purchase orders or job purchase orders. So we're saying for my warehouse purchase orders, the default is 2-day shipping. For anything I need for a job, that's set to next day air. That's up to you. Maybe you want ground shipping for your jobs, but you will control that from here. And then default delivery date defaults, maybe so like when you create a purchase order for delivery, you can set how many days you want the default delivery dates to be. So you just update that from here. These are settings that are personal preference. You're going to set these, whatever relates to you. And then those will come into play when creating your purchase orders. All right. And so the final thing that you want to set up before you actually create your catalogs is to add any manufacturers that you purchase from. And we'll see why that it's important to set that up in just a little bit, but let's go to settings, purchase orders, manage manufacturers. So we'll create a catalog. We're going to create items. Those are the items that we will purchase from our supplier. When we're creating those items, there will be a spot to pick what manufacturer that item is from. Your system will come with some default manufacturers, but you'll want to come in here and add any that you purchase. So if you know you're purchasing train items, you'll want to come add train as a manufacturer. That way, when I add a train item, I can then say it's a train item. But you do need to add those manufacturers here first, and those will be available as a drop down when creating the supplier catalog items. You'll click new and then enter the name and hit save. You know better than anyone who you're purchasing from, so go ahead and add those in. And now we are ready. So just as a recap, we set up our suppliers And then we set our purchase order settings, our preferences, and then we created our manufacturers that we are purchasing from. And now we're ready to create our catalogs. To do this, you will go to More Applications, Parts, Catalogs. Now, the reason why it's important to do this in the specific order that we have shown today is the first thing you'll do to add a catalog item is select your supplier. We just added Anderson Supply as a supplier, so that is who we will select. And then accounts. Now this is where this comes into play. I'm purchasing items from Anderson Supply. I have a job account and a warehouse account. Each account will have its own catalog. So maybe my job account is like, everything under the sun. I'm going to have anything I would possibly need for any job. The warehouse account maybe is just going to have a few items that I know I'm purchasing each month to keep on hand for my technicians when they go and run jobs. These are just some examples. So let's now add items to the job account. And then let's select, we're going to be purchasing from the Eastway store. When you first are doing this, this will be empty. There will be no items. I have added items to this so you can kind of see what it looks like afterwards. But if this is empty, uh, very important, it will not show up when you create a purchase order unless there is at least one item in the catalog. So right now we're seeing this is the job account catalog. If there were no items in here and I created a purchase order, it will not show the job account catalog. You can create purchase orders and add items as you go. When you're creating the purchase order, you can actually add your items in the moment, but you have to at least add one item for a catalog to exist. So that could be that you are clicking the plus sign here and just adding a general part and saving it. That way you have at least one item in your catalog. And then that will show up when you're creating purchase orders. You can just add those items in the moment as you go. Otherwise, you can fully build out your entire catalog right from here. Just click the plus sign, fill out the info, and you'll start building your catalog that you would order from. And these are going to be items that you know you're purchasing from this supplier in this account. So if I wanted to add a part, I click the plus sign. You can get very detailed here, enter the part name, supplier number, manufacturer number. Remember we added our manufacturers earlier. I can click and now I have a list of all the manufacturers I purchased from. Let's say that this is a train part. Enter the quantity, enter the amount. Let's say this is a $100 item. And then you can even add a picture. You can put in documentation if you have documents you want to add. And if you know this is an item you purchase from your supplier all the time, mark it as a favorite and it will show up when you create your purchase orders. Once you have all the information in here that you want, click save, and then that will save into your list. So here's an example. I've made a couple parts. I made a filter, and these are the items that will be available when creating my purchase order. Then, so that, let's say I went through, I spent a day and I just added everything I know I order from Anderson Supply job account. And then I would also need to do that for any other accounts that I purchase from. So I did that for the warehouse account as well. And let's say that these are items that I know I'm purchasing for my warehouse to keep on in stock. All right. So now that we have our catalog set up, we have at least one item in each account. These will now show up when I am creating my purchase orders. So we have a couple ways you can create purchase orders in your system. We've got our foundation complete, and we're either going to the two main scenarios is that you will create a purchase order on the job, meaning I need to order something for this job from my supplier. I'm going to use a purchase order in my WEX FSM system to do it. Or you are wanting to order something for the warehouse that doesn't relate to a job at all. It's not going to have a job number. It's just something that I'm ordering for myself to come to the office and have just on hand. We're going to go through both scenarios now. The first scenario we will do is to create a job purchase order. So let's go back to our schedule here. And let's say that my technician called me and said that he needs to go to the supplier and pick up a part for the job that he's on. He can't complete the job until he gets that part. He knows it's in stock, so he's going to go pick it up, but he needs the purchase order to go out to them. So let's go to our appointment here. And we're just going to click into the job so we can create a purchase order. Each job in your system allows you to make proposals, invoices, purchase orders, all kinds of job forms. So I'm just going to click on the job here. And then we will scroll down. Each job page has a purchase orders section. And you have two options. You can create a brand new purchase order from scratch. If you know that you ordered this item an hour ago on another job, you can use the copy feature. Just a quick visual of what this looks like. If I click copy, it will show me first all of my favorite purchase orders. So again, if you create a purchase order, you know it's something you want to copy in the future, you'll just click the heart sign and mark it as a favorite. And you can also uncheck favorites here, and it will show you every purchase order in your entire system. And you can even search PO numbers here and find what you want and click on it. It will simply copy everything from that purchase order, add your new customer information, and can save you some time having to key in, and type out everything from scratch. For today's example, we will do it from scratch by clicking New. Since we're creating this from the job, it already knows that this is a job PO. So create job PO is already selected. And now all of the foundation work that we did before, we're going to see come to play here. Who's the supplier I'm purchasing from? Anderson Supply. What account am I purchasing from? I know I need my job catalog, so I'm going to do my job account and click next. And then what is the location? I know that I'm going to purchase from the Eastway store. That's right down the street. And then click next. And now we have an official purchase order. We are in the build mode. So this is typically, you're sitting in the office or you're in the truck and out in the field. And now we need to build this out. A couple things to note. All this information here is already preset because we've set that up ahead of time. If I want to know who this was created by, you can tag the user here. So we can see this is already tagged me because I'm the one creating this. If you want to name this purchase order, let's say that this is something you want to recall later, add a PO name. This might be my no AC PO and click save. Down below, desired pickup date. Since we are choosing to go pick this up, I'm going to have my technician go and pick that up. We have pickup selected and the pickup date. We want to come today, but you can update that date if you're going to go pick it up on Monday, etc. If this is delivery, you would click delivery here, and then you would be able to choose your delivery method, which is set up from that settings page we looked at earlier, and then your desired delivery date. For this scenario, we're going to have our technician go pick it up today. And now here we go. You can add items from your catalog, which we set up earlier. So click. And now we see the job account is already selected. And let's say that for this job, we need a filter and we need part number 3. As you start clicking on items in your catalog, they will then show up in your cart on the side. And once you have everything in here that you want, you will click Review PO, and it will add those items from the catalog to your purchase order. We have everything that we need from here, but while we're here, just a tip, you can add a custom line item. Let's say that, you did a great job, you set up all your items in your catalog, but there was something that you missed. That's okay. You can just click add new custom line item. And this is where, this is up to you. If you want to sit down and build out every single item that you purchase and get that done in, a bulk session, you can do that. Or you can hit the ground running with a few items and build your supplier catalog as you go with this. So I know I don't have this item. Let's say this is, part number 12. Obviously, name this what the actual item is. But then right here, you will click Add to Supplier Catalog. And what that's going to do is just add this item and all the details into your supplier catalog. And then the next time you want to order this item, it's already created. And this is a great way to make sure that you are starting right away. You don't have to wait until all your entire catalog is in your system. And it's adding items that you are actively purchasing as you're running jobs in your system. So very helpful to do it this way. Let's say this is a, $50 item and then hit add. All right, there we go. And so I know I'm picking this up. I'm sending this to the parts counter of Anderson Supply, and we're ready to roll. So I can save an email. Maybe I want to add my signature. If you click save, it will not be sent to the supplier. You can delete it, but we want to save it and email it so that can be sent to the supplier. This is going to confirm that we're sending it to our contact. Maybe that's going to Doug. Maybe that's going to just a general parts counter. And that's what we have here. So I'm going to hit submit. Doug is our imaginary person who's working the parts counter. So there we go. Now I have officially submitted a purchase order to Anderson Supply. I can see my purchase order job form is right here. If you want to see what the supplier sees, you will click on the PDF icon. And this is what they'll get. They'll get, an email from you, from your company, that will have all the information that they need to supply you with the items that you need for this job. If you hover over the little timestamp icon here, you can see the last time that this purchase order was sent. If they're like, "Oh, you never sent it." Actually, I sent it on March 20th at 1:31 p.m. and I have a timestamp of that right here. If you need to resend, you can just click the little envelope icon, select who you want to send it to, and hit submit, and it will send that directly from the job here. And then this scenario here, if my technician is out in the field, they can go pick it up. They can come to this job and look at the purchase order and pull up that PDF to show them, like a receipt of sorts if needed. But that PO will live here. And once that has been, well, once the next step has occurred, you can mark it as processed, shipped, canceled, closed, uh, whatever you want here. Okay, so that is setting up a job purchase order. Next, let's look at warehouse purchase orders. So job purchase orders, that's for the jobs I'm running. But if I want to order something that's not related to a job at all, a good place to do this is from the purchase order list. To get there, we will go to jobs and all the way at the bottom, purchase order list. Now, this has a lot of different functionality. The purchase order list will show you all purchase orders in your system. This is a great place to see purchase order statuses. And just you will know what the purchase order number is, when it was last modified, when it was first issued, the amount of the purchase order, the type. Is it a job purchase order, which will have a connected job that you can go into and look at? Or is it a warehouse purchase order? And in that case, there is no job. It would just be viewable and managed from here, from the purchase order list. You have the ability to search by status, purchase order type, and in this scenario, we're wanting to order for the warehouse. So to do that, you can create new or copy. Let's do a new purchase order. And since we are doing this from the purchase order list, warehouse purchase order is selected by default. If I want to do a job purchase order, I'll just need to tell it which job I want to connect it to. But let's do warehouse. And we're going to order from Anderson Supply. But we're going to choose our warehouse account because that's going to be our catalog that has, our filters that I know I want to order to keep on hand. And we'll click next. Location, let's say this is from the Eastway store. And for this one, let's have this delivered. So we'll choose delivery. And we're going to have it delivered from our supplier location, the Eastway store, to, where are you? Let's say that we are on the Simsbury Road location. That's where I want it delivered to. And click next. So now we're in the build mode of the purchase order. We already went over this process, so let's just quickly add some items. I'm just clicking add from supplier catalog. We're already in our warehouse catalog, and I know that I just want this part 1, simple order for today, and we'll click review to add that item to the purchase order. And let's say I actually need 5 of these, so I'm just going to quickly change the quantity to 5. And there we go. 2-day shipping is good for me. Desired delivery date will be the 22nd. Is that a Sunday? Let's make that a Monday. And there we go. Any notes that you add here, the supplier will be able to see. So if you need some communication with them, add some notes. And we're good to go. We'll go ahead and save and email this. Oh, this does require a signature. and now save an email. This is going to go to the parts counter of our supplier, and we'll click submit. And so, what's the difference? We just did a warehouse purchase order that is not connected to a job. So if I needed to check on this later, let's say a week from now, I need to go back and look at that, uh, filter that we bought. I would come to the purchase order list since there's no job to find it on, and then just change the PO type to warehouse. And now this is a great home base for any of your warehouse purchase orders. All right. Oh, we're doing great on time. So let me check my notes. All right, perfect. So everything we have looked at so far has been using the desktop side of WEX FSM, but maybe you want your technicians out in the field to actually order parts and kind of help alleviate some of the tasks of your office crew. If you're having your technicians do it out in the field, they would be doing it from the mobile app. And Craig asks, what is the lightning bolt icon on the right side? That is going to be if this is coming from an electronic order. Um, so we can get into that a little more in the Q&A, but we do partner with Ferguson and Daikin to have electronic catalogs put into your system. So if this was ordered from a supplier catalog from Ferguson or Daikin, then that is what is called an EDE, which is an electronic data exchange. And this is showing the lightning bolt just represents that this was ordered from the EDE, which would be that internal electronic connection to either a Daikin or a Ferguson um, catalog. So if you have more questions on that later, let me know. But yeah, this at a glance, I can be like, oh, we ordered a lot here from the EDE, and then these are just probably from local chain spots. Cool. Craig says thanks. Perfect. All right. So, how to order parts from the field using the mobile app. I do have a mobile app simulator here. We're just going to jump into quickly. Let's refresh. All right. So I'm a technician. I'm going to go help my customer Mary here. It looks like she has no AC. Tap into the appointment. Oh, hello? Hmm. Maybe I need to refresh. Yeah, it reset itself. Not a problem. Give me 1 second here. Let's get back into it. I like to preload all of my links, but sometimes it times out. Okay, we should be good. There we go. Okay. So I'm in the field. I'm using the mobile app. I'm on the job. I realize I need to order a part. So I will scroll down and we want purchase orders. So right here, there's a purchase order section. Um, And then, so we can see a purchase order has already been created. If there are any purchase orders, you will see those here. You've got some quick actions. If you slide your finger to the right, if a purchase order is already created, you can submit that or view that as a PDF. If you slide your finger to the left, you can just quickly delete. I know. I asked them if we could do that, or like when that would be available, and they said we don't have an ETA on that. I know. I'm sorry. Um, okay. So we want to create a new purchase order. So we're going to tap new. And then this is for this job. So we're going to do new job PO. And then it's the same process that we did before. It just looks a little different on mobile. So we're going to choose our supplier, good old Anderson, order from them. Make sure we're doing this for our job. So I want my job catalog and supplier location. Maybe it's from the East Way store. So we're going to save that. And I will go pick it up and hit create. Right here, we're going to hit add items. That will then pull up our catalog. Add any items that you want or need from this list. As you're adding them, you will see that show up in the queue down below. Maybe you're skipping around and choosing a lot of different items, and before you add them, you want to just check, what did I even add? You can tap there's a little teeny tiny arrow right here. I do personally wish this was a little bigger, but above the add button, there's an arrow. If you tap that, you can see what's in your cart. You can update them by clicking. You can click and drag to move them into a different order. And this is just to set it up before clicking add, which will then add it to the purchase order. We have our items here. If you tap on an item, you can change the name, update the price, really just update the product and click save. And now we're good to go. Add any notes you want your supplier to see, sign it with your finger, and then send purchase order. That will then send the purchase order to who we determine here. So we're going to send it to the parts counter. And there we go. We have now officially submitted a purchase order to our supplier. We can see that it is submitted here. And that's good to go. And that is just an example of creating a purchase order from the mobile app. Okay, let's see here. The final thing that we're going to go over, wait, yes, is everything that we have talked about so far has been manually updating this yourself, which is great. You can build out your suppliers, your supplier catalogs. You can get super detailed. And while it's great, it does take time. So there is a little elbow grease that goes into building your supplier catalogs. Um, if you want to bypass that, we do have some options for that. One option is you can submit your catalog information as an Excel file, and we will load that into your system for you. And so maybe as an example, and I do have customers who have done this before, maybe you want to go to your supplier and say, hey, I've been purchasing from you for many years. Could you send me an Excel file with all of the information on the parts and equipment that I've purchased from you in the last 6 months? Maybe you already have a file like this that has the name, the model number, the manufacturer, the cost in an Excel file somewhere. You can submit that to our data team, and then they can load that into your system. And that can save you a lot of time of manually entering. I mean, maybe there's thousands of items that you purchase from your suppliers, uh, and manually entering those will just take a while. To do this, now I will say it has to be a Excel file. PDF Word document, those will not work. You'll need to get it into an Excel file. But if you can do that, you'll go to More Applications, Data Center. And the data center will open the Help Center and really just read and follow what it says. So this is asking, what would you like to do today? I know I want to submit a supplier catalog. So I will choose Submit a Supplier Catalog. And then it's going to ask you, uh, do you want to load a supplier catalog, which is items that I buy from my supplier, or do you really want to just upload a price book file, which would be items I sell to my customer? Confirm, I want to load a supplier catalog. And then you have some options here. Do you want to upload your own file? If you have your own Excel file, you're ready to go. Choose that. Otherwise, we will provide a template Excel file for you, and then you will be able to fill that out. You'll know it has all the columns and info that we require, and then come back to here and submit that. Once that's submitted, depending on how big it is and how many loads we have going on at any given time, that will take between 3 to 7 business days to load into your account. And once that does, the area that we went to that has the catalog, that's where you'll see it. So when you go to create a purchase order and you click add item, you'll see that loaded information in there. All right. So that is all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope you guys learned something. We're going to go to our Q&A now. So if you have any questions, please put those in the chat. And thank you. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Suppliers and Purchase Orders.